accept it. Up to the it's just up to the team. I know you have flights. Say, LeBron talks excited, like tiles, flipping switch, all that other stuff. I mean, one point competitive. Like, they have like 4 guys on 10 days like that. Uncompetitive. What do you mean? They didn't win last night. They did win last night. It looked like hell at the basketball game. Through the basketball game and fell. I mean, they turned it on in the second quarter. Yeah, they turned it on in the second quarter. But I mean, at the beginning of this game, just I see competitive game one. I in the first half. I didn't see the first. I didn't maybe really. So great job. Is that what he did? I know one full half, one without Ryan. Okay, I didn't know game from Martin. I didn't know when that injury report came out. Under the microscope. I'm sorry, playing against guys who can have so much time. You have Jared and Mobley, who are 13 pieces on this basketball team. Excuse me. Excuse me. I've been stepped up. I come after me. All of a sudden, I can see. I'm a fan's ways. That's what I'm doing. Saying it's just up to the Cavs how to change it. I can't be here any longer. That's what I'm saying.
They've been one of those injured teams in the league all year, and they still won 50 games.
And they did.
They still, since the acquisition of James Harden, they are 18-6. he's playing some of the most efficient basketball since he's really been in the NBA, and he's doing it so optimally. Like, he's not ball hogging, he's not doing all the things that people hated about James Harden. And when they have Harden, Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen, they are in the 100th percentile in turnover rating, meaning they're at the top of the NBA when those 4 guys play. Probably all 4 of those guys don't often play together because, again, surpassed the third stage, they're the most injured teams in the league. I think a salary that missed the second most amount of games of any team in the NBA. So I'm just laying out the facts. The reality is, if they're not in the playoffs, then everybody's going to be, they have no shot. That's every team in the playoffs. When your guys are out.
A split second. I can see where Nick's coming from. You made me so mad for a split second. Look at your face. I'm just telling you facts. I don't like the way you talk. That's how bad it looks. Facts. We had a better bedside manner. I tried to have a good bedside manner. I go, hey, I understand your feelings and your concerns here, but it's still a regrettable. It is. But when they go, and really, there was a lot of people really turned off in the fourth quarter. To be honest with you, with the way Mountain played in that basketball.
I didn't watch him last night. It was a national game. The Guardians were. Yeah, I'm saying, like, I wouldn't blame people for not caring about last night's game once the injury report came out. Cavaliers won last night. I mean, Memphis is trying to lose, so I'm not sitting there hoisted fee about beating the Memphis Grizzlies last night. Even though I don't think an NBA team's ever won out teams in 3 that happened before in the history. Record-setting night. All I'm saying is, look, these are the doldrums of late March, early April that happen every year in the NBA. I always tell people that people that really go to the league and overreact to games in March and April. Like, I don't know what to say. Stuff's going on forever. I'm trying not to, but I've finally been beaten down. You got a bunch of injury, and that's over. It's a valid excuse. I think we'll be playoffs. How it works. I understand. Well, I feel that it's a valid excuse, and those injuries are. Because think about it. I mean, you've made a significant change to this basketball team. Then you still have injuries. I mean, 39 different starting lineups is an exceedingly large amount for a team that's supposed to be a competitive teams that have that many starting lineups just don't make the playoffs. Unless Oklahoma City, they defy all logic all the time.
Because and I think that is the perfect way to compare it, because that's a really good team that people trust. We are a really good team. They just don't trust. They just don't trust them.
No, they earn trust.
So what are you fighting?
I don't trust the Cavaliers either. I said, hey, if they're healthy, which the whole point of, and a lot of people are sad about the way they made the injuries. Well, if they come into the playoffs and guys are actually available, then I'd have to say that's a win, because they haven't been available a year. And that's why, like, they said Dean Wade is ramping up, and they don't have good perimeter wing defenders. They just don't. Max Strus might have qualified a year ago. He's below average, coming off the Jones for sure. They did trade for Keanis. He's a good defender against guys his size, but if he has to guard like actual wings, like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they're screwed. Just like they're always going to be screwed against those guys, which will bring me eventually to a point where I heard something in the afternoon that I couldn't believe, like just non-ball knower things that I was hearing in the afternoon drive yesterday. I hate to say it, but I just got to be honest. You guys want honesty? I got to be honest. I was driving in the car yesterday, and I'm like, oh, I can tell who pays attention to the playoffs and who doesn't in the NBA. Even an example I'll give from just a year ago. So someone wasn't paying attention a year ago. So all that is to say is,
do we have audio of this non-ball knower stuff?
I think we do, but
it doesn't where you want to take.
I want to say ball knower. That's all knowledge.
Lots of knowledge here.
So I'll just say, if you don't trust the Cavs, totally understand. But if they have their guys healthy, like, you should be excited about the Cavs, because last night with the Knicks victory, even though the Cavs are still with the tiebreaker and everything 2 games behind that 3 seed, they just, I think, got the red carpet rolled out for them to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I think that was the big story last night.
They better get there
in that game and in that night NBA basketball.
But you're saying that another host on the station doesn't know basketball.
I just have an example. I hate to do that, but I just have such a shining example that's an easy one to kind of go after.
So, is it the one you asked for?
Yeah, we'll get to later.
No, I'll give it 6:43. We'll get to it. I want to make sure we got the right clip that you want to go ahead and highlight and go ahead and tie your own noose and go ahead and do it, because we're running out of time on this one. I'm just pointing out, like, this is my feeling. I watched it last night and I just got frustrated because I'm going, I understand that they have a bunch of injuries, but you're playing against a bunch of, I'm not going to call them garbage, but they're not NBA, they're not real true NBA players. And so when you're playing against not a lot of real true NBA players, and I've been sitting there arguing, and honestly, Tone, I look at my phone and I see people who are listeners going, you guys sit there and defend this garbage. What are you doing defending this? And I just put the phone down and I said, man, I just have to accept that the only people that can change their minds are not Anthony and Ken. It's got to be the Cavs. You're nodding your head. You agree with it. You've been talking tough here. I think you've been writing a lot of checks. You better be ready to play.
You guys know this. Like, we all agree. What has the Cavs' effort been over the last month?
Terrible.
And they're 18-6 since they got James Harden. And they try and they win. They do just enough to win, because it's not about games in March and April, guys. We all said that. Donovan Mitchell said it.
Right.
They could go 82-0 and nobody would care. Well, they just went 18-6 and none of you care. And now they have the best, clearest path of all time to get to the Eastern Conference Finals without LeBron James. Said something all of you guys said you would cherish. And now you're all poo-pooing the hell out of the playoff run. Well, let's see. It is up to the Cavs. Not to me. It's not to you. It is up to the Cavs. And it's about them being healthy. And it looks like, fingers crossed, they will be healthy once the playoffs start in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I was going to talk you into understanding the malaise Cavs fans have. You have doubled and tripled down today. This is unbelievable. This is really good stuff.
I don't even think, though, that I've doubled and tripled down with the Cavs. So you immediately shut me down. Playoffs with them. I think, fingers crossed, by the timelines of what he talked about Wade and Tyson, I think they'll actually have their perimeter defenders. They've had no perimeter defenders outside Keon Ellis for a month, it would seem.
9 a.m. we have a team giveaway for the fan mock draft. Also, Brady Quinn going to join us at 9:05 today. I'm going to be can't meet him halfway. I agree with you about what Nick says about not caring where they finish is absolute. Where they finish means a lot. Match matter. Learned this in 20. Number one saying play them plenty of keys and I look like a damn fool. So, and that's another thing. A lot of people disagreed with me going into that postseason. Speaking of the former Indians, right? That year, it was, we're watching the standings. Oh, and you were there. Watching the standings. I'm like, well, you got to beat the best. To prove you're the best, play the Yankees, beat the Yankees. And there were some people who agreed. There were a lot who didn't. It was like me on a mountain. And I thought I was going to be right after they won 22 games in a row. And they were up 2-0 in the series. And then things went straight to hell. Or 2-1 in the series. And then things went straight to hell. And it was one of the worst Mondays, or it was one of the worst mornings of my life after they lost. And so I'm just trying to learn from previous experience, even in another sport. Like, take the easiest path. I'll take the. I don't care. I used to care. I don't care anymore about the fights with general fans of other teams. We're always going to find something to take away from it if you're a hater, quote unquote, or you're a person who just wants to have an argument. We'll always find little things. But a championship's a championship. I can't take it away. Or the chance to play for one is what it is. I can't take it away. And I can't tell you how much it would mean. Owens kind of said it during the break because he said it to John. John doesn't understand. They got to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They got to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. If John wants to come in here and fight about it, John can come here and fight about it. Because from what I heard, I was kind of writing some things down and I wasn't really paying close attention. I think he's crazy. I think it's absolutely nuts. Like, your goal is to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. After that, we'll see. If they go out and they get hammered by Boston, I don't think I'm going to be feeling really great about it. I'm not going to be feeling we're in a really good place. But if they go out and they play a good series against Boston, I don't think I'm going to be losing my mind.
I would also add, like, why would you, after we've seen Donovan Mitchell limp after like 2 rounds of playoffs, after we've wondered what would Donovan Mitchell even have left if they were able to win and get to the conference finals, you realize, like, all right, let's say they got Boston in the second round and that series miraculously goes 7 and we can buy them. Because I told you Boston's better than the Cavs. But what if they did? What would the Cavs even have left?
Hey, boss, can I get some extra hours? Sorry, man, overtime isn't in the budget. Why don't you hop on Shift Smart? What's Shift Smart?
For an Eastern Conference Finals. So wouldn't you want that series later? Wouldn't you want the lesser challenge earlier?
Yes.
This is how the playoffs work. You want the easiest path.
Yes.
This isn't about like proving the haters wrong every step of the way.
I gotta tell Nick, man,
you wouldn't want to do that.
It's a bad hill to die on, man. It's a real bad hill.
Remember the old UFC fights, fight nights where you'd have to win 4 to take home the UFC crown in its infancy?
When the fat guy fought the thin guy?
And then one guy had one glove.
Yeah.
Sean McCain was calling it human cockfighting.
Yeah, he did.
Do you think anybody would say, oh, I want the better guy early? So we would have an hour match, and then would I be able to breathe after that to win 2 more fights? No! You'd want the easiest path the whole way through. Are you crazy?
Tone Master's right. John, what were you trying to explain during the break?
I agree with
you. You got a leather jacket on.
It's cold outside.
Whatever.
It's cold this morning.
You look like Gene from The Sopranos. Go ahead.
Thanks, on Twitter. I think Lime is right where like it would be better for the Cavs. I think Lime is right where the Cavs would be better off playing the Celtics later, and I think it would be great for the city for the Cavs to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But are you really going to look back at this season if the Cavs still lose to the Celtics, regardless? Does it matter where they lose?
Are you drunk and high?
No.
Well, then that makes it even sadder.
I don't
You
think
say
it
something
matters
silly
where they lose. If they're still going to lose to the Celtics, this is the team that you're afraid of. You're not afraid of the Knicks. You're not afraid of the Pistons.
Okay.
If you still lose to the Celtics.
Well, first off, I'm not afraid of anybody. Do I sound scared? I'm not scared of nothing. What am I scared of? I can understand and not be scared that Jason Tatum is a premier player, and so is Jaylen Brown, and that they're better than what we have. I can't change that. So why would I be afraid of that? There's things that I can't change. So I'm going to go and try to beat them at the very zenith of where it's at because I want a good matchup and I want to get as far as we can. Because you got to remember here, and you don't know it, and that's okay. I'm not ripping you on this, John, because you're not from there and you're a young man. But let me tell you, you have an owner who's willing to do crazy things, and that could possibly. What my issue is I don't want them to go and do something out of desperation that makes this team worse. A la like we saw with a lot of teams in the West against the Golden State Warriors years ago, where there were a lot of teams doing crazy, desperate things to try to compete because the team was so good. They made teams do crazy things and it actually made it worse. That's what I don't want. So if you lose to an Eastern Conference Finals, so you lose a 6-game series to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm not celebrating a loss, but I'm certainly not losing my mind, and I think everybody should be calmed down. Like if Donovan Mitchell ended up freaking out after a 6-game series against Boston, I go, I don't know how much better you want it to be here, buddy. Like this is where it is. But I gotta extend it all because I would look at it and go, wait a minute, you dealt with a lot of injuries. You had a big change to your team halfway through the season. You had 39 different lineups there. You made the Eastern Conference Finals. We're not laughing, but again, we're getting better over the offseason. You gotta see the forest for the trees. You lose in the first round, it's still the first round, and then we're just doing another first or second round exit again. That's when people freak out. I don't want to freak out.
This is the same show that said, oh, I don't want the Cavs to win these games because I want them to keep the 4 seeds so we can play the Celtics later on.
He wanted games. This is the same show that wanted the Cavs to win certain games. Not all these games. You have to be correct on which games.
Well, and the
Ask him. He's over there.
People started wanting to go after them for potentially choosing that path. They ended up winning all these games. They didn't, even with the load management. So they got the best of both worlds. They've won the games. They've kept guys fairly healthy, the guys that you really want to count on. And not to mention, this path just opened up for them. I think that you checked all the boxes for how this could work out incredibly well, unless there is one thing. If the Cavs were to, win the next 3 games, the Knicks would lose the next 3 games, you would eclipse them. The problem is the Cavs play the Wizards in the final game of the year. And I don't think there's just how do you even, how do you figure that out? Also, you look at the last 3 games too for the Knicks. It gets very complicated. And you have 2 games against Atlanta, so it gets a little dicey.
John, thank you very much for your contribution. 216-474-0092. Rodney in Litchfield, you're first up of the fan. Hello, Rodney.
Hey, guys.
Whoa, Rodney, you got turns down there. Just go, turn us down.
I stopped my car and it took over.
It's okay. Go ahead, Rodney.
So I'm going to agree with both of you. Am I allowed to agree with both of you?
That's fine.
So here's my point about the Cavs. I want them to win it all. First of all, they're injury prone. They have been since the second round of the playoffs last year. Is that a fact?
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
They're too short in a couple positions, height-wise, when it comes to guarding the guys for the Celtics. That's a fact, right?
Like this.
But those are 2 problems they have. Harden, I think, has been a good pickup. He's not real good in the playoffs. That's a fact.
It's not entirely a fact. The narrative on him is big games, he's fallen short.
Okay, but that's what he's known for.
He's also had monstrous playoff games. Like comparing it to like Darius Garland, who is injury prone too, by the way. James is not. So that's why they needed somebody.
Labels aren't always fair, but we call them labels for a reason, Tony.
They needed somebody who actually has been able to have big playoff games. Garland had never.
What I don't want to hear in the playoffs this year is they didn't have time to gel. I'm going to tell you why. Look how good Harden has looked when he has played. His passing, getting guys in the right position, and you can't blame payroll like you can the Guardians. You can't blame payroll. So I don't want to hear people say they didn't have time to gel. If they don't get it done this year, you've got to look at, and I'm not talking major changes, I'm talking you got to figure out what's it going to take to get to the next level. Because I think healthy, they've got a chance. There's no doubt they've got a chance. And I just hope that they stay healthy, and then we don't use the excuse they didn't gel. I hope they stay healthy and get to the finals and have
See, Ronnie, that's where I disagree. I mean, how can you not use that? I mean, I know it comes off like an excuse,
they
but
decided to make a trade. So that was a voluntary.
Yeah, it wasn't. If they would have just stuck with the Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis trade like that, okay, that would be ancillary. I would give you credit on that. But like James Harden is a major component to this team, and you need time to play with each other. I mean, good God, we all saw the difference in what Jarrett Allen was able to do with a guy who had the vision that James Harden has. I think that's a warranted conversation to have if they fall short against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Harden's looked good when he's played. I mean, it's not like he's looked like he's been out of time. He doesn't look like he's out of position.
He has, but when you're playing with so many others, how much more can he pull out? He's a good guard. How much better basketball can he pull out of Evan Mobley? How much better basketball can he even get out of Jarrett Allen or some of the other guys out there? Like, I don't think we've seen the very best yet. I don't think they've had time to gel.
Okay, well, I hope our bigs hold up because those 2 guys are playing together. They're as good as any 2 big guys in the league when they're playing, the way they can play. And I hope we have a good run in the playoffs, guys. Thanks for the time.
Ronnie, thank you very much for the call. 216-474-0092.
Tap your W-2 and file your tax